I got lucky. I have a cinnamon roll to eat.
Ooh.
And McDonald's forgot to put in silverware, but apparently past me brought up a fork and left it here. So I was like, hooray, thanks past me.
It is my favorite when you order food and then they don't give you silverware. Like, do you think sometimes I might be ordering from like work or something? Like, how am I going to eat this? There is no silverware for me. And they're like, well, use your hands, I guess.
Hello and welcome back to RTFB. This is Travis, and today we're listening to a conversation that Chris, Danielle, and I had last year about one of the most frequently banned books in America, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, by Judy Blume. Yes, that scandalous and salacious tome that dared to disclose that women do in fact go through puberty and get their periods and buy bras. That woke manifesto that had the gall to suggest that teenage girls might have certain feelings about going through that process, and then just completely wipes its ass with tradition by exploring growing up in a mixed religion household. The shame of it all. But since shame is our middle names, we're talking about that book and the 2023 movie of the same name today. If you've never seen the movie, as of the time of this recording, it looks like it's available to stream if you have a Starz subscription, or to rent from all your usual streaming suspects. All right, let's get back to my conversation with the Chris's and Danielle already in progress.
Oh, that sounds good. I've not had one.
It is good.
You know, everyone knows that the best part of the muffin is the top.
Of course. Yeah. So when you just buy that, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I just wish they really did bake a whole muffin and throw the stem away to make the muffin.
No, they don't do that.
It's better that way.
I would think they just recycle it into some other muffin.
Yeah, they could have muffies and like pucks.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Muffin pucks.
The muffin puck?
Yep. I don't know. Am I on screen?
No.
Barely.
Barely.
Can you put it more on you and take it off me?
Oh.
You can do that. I also appreciate McDonald's new bag game, apparently.
New what?
They've got, like shit that it's in.
Wow.
Is it reversed for you? It's reversed for me.
It says The Office.
Yeah. Well, they've been doing cute shit. Like, the top of their lids for their plastic cups have little sayings. Like, since they used the same one for sodas as the iced coffees, mine says, keep it bubbly.
Oh.
But this one, McDonald's bag, as featured in Space Jam, Fallen Angels, You Be Illin' by Run DMC, The Office, US, Coming to America, Seinfeld, episode The Boyfriend, Brief Answers to Big Questions by Stephen Hawking, Como Cuando y Donde by Awkward, Chuck Day, India, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, the best one.
Oh, of course.
And the upcoming season 2 of Loki.
Oh, Loki's gonna have McDonald's in it?
Yeah, because it's got an asterisk by it.
Now we're definitely watching
God,
it.
for sure.
Yeah. I'm like, you know what, McDonald's? Good on you. You're upping your game a bit.
Yeah.
But they're trying to appeal to the younger kids, because they just don't eat McDonald's, apparently.
Well, their fries don't taste right anymore.
I mean, they're okay, but yeah, they're not quite the same.
So hit or miss for me.
So they took that one fat out of it. Yeah, I agree.
Is that why it doesn't taste good? Put it back. I don't care what it does.
Probably.
Like, that's what made the fries good.
Well, at this point, it makes sense when you're 20 not to eat a lot of that, whatever that fat is, but, like, come on.
Yeah,
now, if we ate a lot of it, it's going to be at least 15 years before it really does anything to us.
I ain't got 15 years left. Let's go.
And by then, we'll just pop a pill, like we do now. Like,
That's
come on.
right. That's right. McDonald's, we like their chicken nuggets, but, like, really only if they're, like, fresh and hot and crispy.
Yep.
Yeah, I only really get their nuggets and fries. Because the fries are, like I said, they're okay. When they're fresh.
Are okay. When they're hot and fresh, they're, like, fine. But I swear, they just don't they don't have the same taste like they used to. Like,
and they don't
McDonald's
hold
used
up.
to be the best fries, and it's not the best fries anymore.
Yeah.
There's Lucy.
See, if you get a good cheeseburger, it's good.
Yeah.
I don't think their meat is good.
if you get a bad cheeseburger, it is like the worst thing ever.
Yes.
Sometimes
so
it's so disappointing.
It's like, do I want to gamble on this today? Like, I don't know.
Well, sometimes I get the fucking classic McDonald's burger, like from the dollar menu. Well, it's probably now the $2 menu. So, given the inflation,
I will get just cheeseburgers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it really depends on which one you go to and what fucking day it is.
Yeah, and who's working
on the shift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to call ahead and be like, "Oh, is Tim back there today?"
Tim knows how I like my burgers.
Exactly.
So I started going almost every day after school to get a coffee.
Yeah.
Because I need that refresh. And it's funny because there's this one like 20-year-old woman who works on Fridays or something. So she used to do the app orders, like taking them out to cars and shit. So I became a regular. So she used to be excited to see me.
Yeah.
Aww.
And she put extra.
Be,
well, thank you. She put extra caramel in my coffee for me. She's like, I put an extra pump in for you. I'm like, oh, thanks. That makes it awesome. Like, I appreciate it. But I'm like, I'm also a regular now at McDonald's. I don't know how I feel about that.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
In Springfield?
Especially if it's like, I'm getting a coffee.
Well, in
it's better than being a regular at a gas station when they're like, oh, I know what brand of cigarettes you buy.
That's true.
Well,
like,
in
it's
Springfield,
3 a.m. Here's Chris.
I'm trying to tell a story.
Yep. I'm sorry.
In Springfield, when I worked at Payless,
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
right next door was a McDonald's. And so we would walk over sometimes, and me and like the other lady that I worked with a lot, we would, I guess before COVID, we would share like a chocolate shake. We wouldn't even get our own. We would just share it, but we would have them put hot fudge in it for us. And they got used to like seeing us come in. They're like, the hot fudge shake. Like, yes, we would like to have that, please.
Yep.
This is apropos of nothing, but I've been seeing a lot of advertisements that it's hip hop's 50th birthday, like this weekend.
What?
Or last
really?
weekend.
Oh.
Like,
That's
I didn't realize there
shit.
was a start date.
Apparently.
I didn't know you could do that for a musical genre.
You can when it gets old enough.
I guess.
It's probably based on somebody's first performance.
Yeah, so 50 years ago.
I didn't really realize hip-hop was going 50 years ago, but I guess
50
that
years
explains
ago.
how it could blow up in the 80s.
What was it in 70? Like 1973?
We would have to look.
I don't want to.
We'll save culture for later.
Yeah, looking it up is hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it just struck me as odd that they're like, 50 years of hip-hop.
We can put a date on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sprite is the one who was pushing it in our like movie theaters. Like,
we're
we're celebrating 50 years of hip-hop. We're Sprite.
And I'm like, Sprite is not a hip hop drink, y'all.
Oh, apparently.
Maybe it was 50 years ago.
I don't think so.
Sprite
part of the
for
community.
whatever reason, I don't know. Like they have always had sort of black oriented advertising for as long as I can remember anyway.
Yep. True. They're part of the community, hun.
I guess.
Yeah, Sprite.
They made their bottle not green anymore for the environment, but like it's weird and I never like realized that's Sprite. It's like, is that diet Sprite? Like, no, it's just regular Sprite.
Just Sprite, apparently. Yeah, the green bottle. Come on, folks. I don't really think it's saving that much.
Chris Ham's like, burn the world faster. Keep
That's
the green bottles.
Put the
make
fat
them
back in the
glass
fries.
again. Making green glass isn't hard to do.
We can't do glass. People are stupid. We'll have glass everywhere.
Yeah.
An eddy and an entropy whirlpool that is hastening the heat of the universe.
Glass is much more recyclable than plastic anyway, so if we're going to save the planet, go back to glass.
My favorite thing is that we have a whole regular-sized trash can and a regular-sized recycle bin, and I've watched the trash guy take both of them.
Yep.
So, like, good thing I recycled that out and they just put it right in the trash.
Yeah.
That's because your recycling plan in the past was ship it to China. So when China 4 or 5 years ago said, we're not taking your shit anymore, we don't want your recycling, your city had no alternative plan, and that's what's been happening to all the recycling since.
Well,
it just goes in the dump.
I would say that that's what happens to most recycling anyway. It just happens after you see it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, oh, we take it in 2 separate bins, but really it's all going in the fucking
like we
landfill.
do, and we have separate days. So.
And even when you shipped it to China, like, it probably went into a landfill there too. Like,
right.
It did for sorting later. Like
they can only recycle
pictures.
so much. We don't have the technology apparently.
It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't.
It's actually really hard to recycle. So here's my great transition.
Okay.
Hey, so
I'm
you
waiting.
know this book, right? This book we read, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one you read, I didn't read it.
Yeah.
I read it.
Good.
I read it too.
Yeah.
I didn't read it.
I didn't read it. But all our fans were clamoring. They're like, we really want to hear like 3 40-year-old white guys talk about getting their period for the first time.
Yeah.
So here we are.
I want to hear it too.
Answering the call.
Oh my god.
Tell me about this.
Oh my god.
I think when I got my first period,
I sent my sister a message after I finished reading it, and I was like, being a 6th grade girl really fucking sucks.
Right.
She was
Like,
yeah,
that was
it
my
did.
takeaway from this book. Like, it sucks.
It was
God
7th
damn.
for me, but yes,
Yeah.
can
Well-
confirm.
I can tell only from the 6th grade girls that I have taught
Mhm.
and how like frustrating life seems to be.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, okay, I saw that in some of my students. Like that's how they acted at school.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
In the movie, I'm like, oh, I like this teacher. He gives me ideas.
Yeah.
Like I could
God.
do that with my kids.
The 70s
First
teacher.
day, all right. I'm like,
Corporal
write your
punishment. bring it
name.
back.
Well, I like the idea of my first week or so. I'm like, all right, guys, write this stuff out. What's your
Yeah.
name? What I like, what I don't like,
Yeah.
things like that. And my kid, then they'll be like, ooh, writing. Like, you got to do it. We're going to
whole
do a lot of it this
page.
year.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I didn't want to do is be like, oh yeah, well, I went through puberty too, and so I know everything about being a 12-year-old girl. Like, I remember wanting to have to shave, and that was cool. And I also don't want to be like, Danielle, you're our ambassador to womanhood, so tell us everything about having a uterus.
Oh,
Right.
But
I mean, we all know the
these,
mechanics
right?
of it.
yeah.
So good.
Did you ever feel like there was a time where you're like, I wish I would get this? Or were you already clued in, like, this is going to be miserable, like, for 40 years of my life after this?
So I don't really know that I was like thinking about it too much because I was actually one of the first of my friends to get it. So then it just happened and I was like, it was like the day before 7th grade, orientation when you went to pick up your schedule and got your picture taken. So it was like that night before, like in the middle of it, like I was watching something very late and I'm like, uh-oh.
Do you remember what you were watching? Like, did it trigger?
What was I watching?
It's like, what
I don't
happened?
remember what I was watching something and it was like my mom was asleep.
Uh-huh.
My sister was asleep and I was watching something in my room. I remember waking up to tell my mom, I'm like, I think like this just happened. She's like, oh, well, here's this pad. And she went back to bed. And that was just like the end of it.
Uh-huh.
It's like,
No
okay.
party?
It's like, this is weird.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back to school in order.
Yeah. And it's like, great. So I'm going to go like back to school and like, I always felt like you always felt very self-conscious in the bathroom if you had to like open the package because it was like loud and noisy.
Yeah.
And people could hear you even though it was all other girls. But like,
Right.
like candy.
Why
in the
would
movie
that
theater.
matter?
I don't know. It was like, still like, everyone was like embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's just a thing. It's embarrassing because not everybody had it at that point.
Right.
Well, but you knew you were going to get it, like... Maybe they didn't, I don't know. I'm not a girl.
Oh,
I don't know.
my
Maybe they
God.
didn't pay attention to those human growth and development videos we had to watch
Yeah.
throughout all those years.
Yeah.
Or you know, maybe their parents were like, no, periods are evil and you're never getting one.
You know what though? I was like, oh, awesome. Like, I'm going to use this like when I don't want to do gym stuff, right? Except for my gym teacher was a lady. And when I tried that one time, she's like, nah, walking will help. Get out there.
She
And like had no,
she,
like
suck it
the
up,
male
Buttercup.
teachers are like, oh, whatever you need, go sit down. But the female teacher's like, nope, you can do this.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah,
some
that's
kids
because
try to
dudes
like
get
throw me
super
off
uncomfortable
last
for
year
some
about
reason
that.
Whenever you just have to be like, period, and then most guys will be like,
Ooh, yeah, that
Oh,
one.
Jesus.
let's
me.
not talk about this.
Not me, but
Whatever
I
I
grew
can do to avoid this conversation.
I grew up with a mother who was in nursing education and obstetrics, so she dealt with the ultimate results of periods, and who was very happy to answer questions from her curious child. So I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
But, like, I had kids last year, like, try to throw me off and, like, get me to, like, no, never, do whatever. Like, they're like, Mr. Ham, I need to, like, go get a pad for my period. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, here's a pass. And they're like, you're not weirded out? I'm like, no. Like, it's just a thing that happens. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry it happened in the middle of class. Like, I get that, but like, we'll be here when you get back. Don't worry about it. They're like, oh, okay. So then they learn later they could just be like, hey, we got that thing to do. I'm like, all right. Don't take too long. Go get what you need. You know?
Yeah. I guess the question I still have about it, even, having been alive for this long and lived with a woman for however many years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The same question Margaret had, like, what does it feel like?
It's gross.
That doesn't explain it to me.
It's like so gross.
Is it like blowing your nose? Like, is it like if you've got a congestion?
Blowing your nose?
Probably not.
So you get cramps, which are horrible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That I
and
can understand.
Headaches and bloating. You just feel like you want to kill everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, how is that different from your everyday, though?
I mean, it's not like that different for me personally, but yeah. And then, like, I know, usually, like, if you wear, like, most women like to wear tampons because you don't, like, feel as much, but, like, sometimes when you're having it, like, if you're, like, not expecting it and it comes on, it just feels like a gush.
Mm.
And you're like, oh, okay, well, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not very pleasant. I actually just had a little procedure yesterday, so I don't have to have those anymore, so.
Oh, nice.
Because I hate them so much.
Well, that's the goal, at least.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, like, that's... I feel like I can conceptualize, like, having cramps and a headache and being in a bad mood, but...
Not to the same degree, though.
I don't understand the planning that would go into, like, at one point in the next couple of days, I'm going to randomly have fluid leaking out of me.
Well, and so I learned at a young age, like, you might as well just, like, know, like, about the time and, like, maybe a day or so ahead of when it's supposed to. Like, you be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Like, prep for that. Have your stuff, like, in place.
Yeah.
Because some women don't. And then they're like, well, I just, like, bled out everywhere. It's like, well, if you knew it was coming, why didn't you just have something in there? Get a liner, get a whatever.
On your white pants type of thing.
Yeah, because then you don't have to worry about that staining stuff. They actually make, like, period panties now, which are, like, awesome. I wish we had those when I was young. They have period swimwear. Very helpful.
Cool. Yeah.
I mean, all of the commercials tell me that you can play tennis. So,
well, I can tell you that as you get older, it gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
Way worse. And there would be certain days, like period day 2 is usually for most women the worst. And like I wouldn't want to do really anything that day because you just don't know what's going to happen. So I didn't want to swim. I didn't want to like run.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to do anything because then you're like, what if even as you've got your products and they fail sometimes on those days when you're having still having.
Right.
I hope the whole world enjoys everyone that listens.
This is what they come
Sharon,
to this podcast
Sharon, I hope you
for.
enjoy hearing about
pretty
that.
Oh, Sharon will love it.
It's pretty awful.
She'll feel some
She'll be like,
camaraderie.
yes, sisterhood.
And I swear, like, well,
and
first
the
of
one
all,
guy in Zambia.
Yeah.
some people are lucky and get like long cycles, and I am not lucky, and I do not have a long cycle. I have like a 25-day cycle, where some people have 28 to 31. I have 25. So that's awful in itself. And then every time we would be on vacation, I swear to God, there it was.
Mm-hmm.
Getting ready to run the Disney 10-miler.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, good. My cycle, it's not supposed to start until 2 days after I run this race, so I won't have to deal with it. When did it start? The day before.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the day of the race? Period day 2.
Awesome.
Running 10 miles.
It's like your body heard you wanted to do a thing and said, nope.
Oh my God. And it like does that shit all the time. And so I was finally just took it into my own hands and I'm like, fuck you, you're out.
yeah. Might as well.
Getting rid of you. You were evicted.
Enough.
I don't need any more babies. We don't need to do this anymore.
I know a lot of women, I think, especially around our age, have been doing that, getting this stuff so they don't have to have them really much at all. And I'm like, you know what? Hearing about it and all that stuff, I'm like, that makes fucking great sense. Like, if you can do it, do it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they have drugs and stuff now that are just like, you can have your period once a year, maybe.
Yeah.
Just get it all out.
But, like, those are all very bad for you and, like, cause more cancers.
It's true.
Yeah.
But what's worse, you know, dying early of cancer or dealing with a period every month for, you know, the next 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
It's true. But I actually had a procedure that's called an ablation. And so what they went in is they scraped everything out of there. It's gone. Like, so I won't have that anymore, hopefully. Or if so, it will be very light. I had never heard of this before.
Yeah.
Like some of my friends
just fucking sandblasted you.
I think that they described it like they put something in there and it like burned it out.
Oh,
I was under anesthesia.
It was a soldering iron.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Oh man.
Huh.
So then,
that sounds pretty new.
Yeah, a lot of women have been starting to get that now though, and they're like total game changer. And I'm like, well, if you're like, but you can't do that if you're still planning to have children,
right?
Or if you have the possibility of getting pregnant, even if you don't want to have children, if somebody could still potentially get you pregnant, like there's nothing anymore for a baby to attach to,
right?
So it would be dangerous for you, and that fetus you'd likely miscarry. You could, bleed out, that kind of thing. So you just have to make sure that you're in the right stage of your life for it. So like 20-year-old, you're probably not going to get that.
Right.
But like me coming on 40, I don't need it anymore. So take it out.
Yeah.
Flip that switch to off.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give nature a helping hand.
I dealt with it since I was 12. I have put in my time.
I would say so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Long enough.
Yep.
Long enough.
I thought it was so cute in this movie, though, how she's like, oh, I got it. I'm like, oh, you're so sweet. Like, you think this is so great, and just wait.
Yeah.
You're just going to hate it.
Yeah.
Well, again, that's, not to equate the two, but, like, I remember in middle school being like, man, I can't wait till I have to shave.
Yeah.
And people being like, you don't want to have to deal with that. Like, it's a pain in the ass, because you have to do it all the time.
Yeah. And I have opted for most of my life.
Yeah, well... Styles have changed that it's not really a requirement anymore, but...
Yeah,
thankfully,
totally used to be.
It was kind of iffy when I was in high school, like, not shaving, because they made us, like, thinking about it, I'm like, I might have to do this for jobs I want, but thankfully, by the time we were, like, finishing college, people were like, oh yeah, beards are okay as long as it's groomed, and then, 10 years ago, beards were the bomb. So...
I think they still are. Most people have facial hair these days.
There's just a little bit of a, you can't really have a hipster beard.
I went from not having to shave to having to shave again.
Yeah.
Because now my head is completely bald.
Well, I still have to,
different
maintain
area of your
this
head.
part. So I'm trying to get the best out of mine, Chris, but it's not going too well, so... Soon enough, I'm going to have to join you again in the Shaved Head Club.
Yeah.
I feel like there are so many people now with shaved heads, and it just works.
Yeah, it does. Honestly,
it just works.
You just do like you and just wear a hat.
Yep.
When you need warmth or head covering.
You can wear you wear a hat too, because you wear it even with your hair, and you still look good in hair. So you got it.
That's because he's fancy.
He's there. You guys are fancy.
It's called style, honey.
It's called drip.
My biggest thing I remember wanting in puberty was chest hair.
Oh, yeah?
Because that, came in last for me for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I got my leg and my arm hair, and then I just had, nothing there. And I'm like, oh god, I'm going to be one of those, dolphin people or something.
No.
But then, overnight, one night, just poof. So now I don't have that worry. I have more of an abundance, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So if I rock 70s styles, I'd be seeing that all the time. But no one likes that, apparently, these days. So.
Well, yeah, I feel lucky that we didn't have to deal with, what was this kid's name, Leroy, being like, I can think of where you need to add those inches. Having a very visible indicator whether you've gone through that or not.
I was never an asshole about that shit, so...
Just because you got your period didn't mean you automatically got boobs.
Right.
No, but,
Like, a lot of people still don't have them, and they've had their period for a long time, so.
Yeah.
I guess there were people like, oh, he must be grown up because he's getting a mustache or something.
I remember people think, like, especially we thought that about each other.
But I don't really remember it being that big a deal.
Now. Yeah.
But anyway, so let's back up a little bit. Like,
okay.
So Chris and I read the book. We all saw the movie. I thought the movie was pretty much a 1-to-1 from the book. Like, you missed out on some of the interiority of Margaret's thinking, but they covered it pretty well.
I thought the movie was pretty cute, so...
Rachel McAdams was awesome as a mother.
She was.
Yeah,
extremely.
I loved her.
Yes. I thought most of the moms, well, 3/4 of the moms were pretty cool in this movie. A lot of them were just kind of like you said. For you, what happened with you was like, oh, all right, well, let me help you out with dealing with this situation. But yeah, like, I'd never read this book in middle school, but I'd always kind of known about it.
Right. I never read it.
But I had read a lot of Judy Blume. Like, if you ever read...
oh, really? I've never read any of her stuff.
Super Fudge or Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. Like, those were in heavy rotation when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember reading around. I just never read them.
Once, I think.
Yeah. Well, and in general, Judy Blume's books show up on a lot of banned book lists. Yeah. Because, like, she doesn't seem to have a qualm with, like, making her kids real. And, like, dealing with things that kids actually deal with. Like, you know, in this book, like, being really anxious about getting your period or dealing with questions about religion. Or,
I
you
thought
know,
that
in
was
the Super Fudge series.
Too.
I'm sure this is banned in Florida for sure.
Oh, you know it is.
Yeah.
For sure. Sorry, Florida. Probably shouldn't listen to this either.
Come up north or go find a cool librarian because I bet you they still have copies somewhere, kids. Wink.
Yeah. And it's...
go to any library, man.
Yeah, so, like, in the Super Fudge books, I guess they banned them because the kid is not in love with his little brother or dealing with that crap. And in one of the books that I know I've read but don't really remember, Blubber, dealing with, like, body issues and bullying in schools.
Yeah.
Maybe I have. Yeah. I might have read that one, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds familiar to me.
And then there's her book, Forever, which, like, she acknowledges that teenagers have sex with each other, and so, like, that can't fly.
Oh, heaven forbid.
So, like, this one has been brought up about frank discussion of menstruation, but, like, did it really have that? I guess they talked about it happening.
I mean,
there's blood involved.
And they have the part where they watch the classic health video, but we all see that shit, so...
Right. This long body drawing of a uterus is so frank about its discussion of menstruating. Like,
yeah, I think that's the frank discussion, but it should be frank. Like, girls and women should be able to talk about this shit, because it's important.
Yep.
Right.
Like, it's not something you hide, it's part of life.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Like...
I tell you what, if men got periods, like, you guys be talking about it all the time.
Fuck yeah, we would.
Yeah,
we'd have, like,
all the time.
We'd be talking about it as much as we talk about jerking off.
There'd also be, like, probably better medications and, like, solutions for some of these
We'd
issues.
have solved it by now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you are correct. That would be the case, because we would have been trying to solve it for centuries.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, women, they can deal with that shit.
Yeah.
You know?
So I kind of feel like people who want this book banned are using that as like a smokescreen to be like, oh, she doesn't exactly have a great relationship with religion in this book. And I don't want my kids thinking about that, so let's pile on that side of it instead.
That's what made Rachel McAdams the best.
Yeah.
She's like, she's nothing! We're not doing this. Nothing.
And I get why, and like, because part of me is like, well, you're just hurt from your experience, but it's also a very real pain. Like, it's a very real, deep pain that your parents would completely reject you because of the guy you fell in love with and married.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, so I definitely see that happening, like, okay, well then no religion at all.
Right.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I encounter that on Reddit a lot, like with and it's kind of a thing we talk about in the Jewish community, because a lot of vocal atheists, like, since most people are Christian, come out of Christianity. Mm-hmm. So then their whole thing is like, every religion is like Christianity was to me as a child.
Right.
Like, oppressive and beat into me and all that kind of shit. I'm like, no, they're not. But I also understand why you feel this way, because of your experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, humans are shitty a lot of the time.
See, I had like kind of the same experience as Margaret with religion.
Yeah.
Which
Just
is basically like
there was a distant family tradition, but you weren't really part of it.
Well, no, it isn't even that part. Like I think this is one major difference between the book and the movie, which is like sort of her attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's very open-minded in going to all of these different services, right?
Right.
But for most of them, she ends up bored off her ass.
Right.
You know,
Like,
yeah.
she's just like counting hats.
Yeah.
That's
like
fair.
I counted 3 brown hats and 5 blue hats, and that was the extent of like the offering. You know, like, oh, this is what religion feels like to me, which is basically
that's
like
fair
I'm
if
going
you
to
never
go into
go.
a room and not feel anything.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
that just to me says like you're not inclined to wonder in the same way, like through the spiritual traditions, and that's fine. Like
Right.
I totally got like when she first went to temple with her grandma. She's like, I don't understand anything. Like, yeah, you're not going to understand any of this
Right.
because it's in Hebrew, and you've never been exposed to this, so you have no idea what's happening.
Yep,
no
right.
one's explaining it along the way. Like, we'll tell you what page in the book we're on, you know, and like.
And you're supposed to read it the other way.
We do some
Yeah,
of it in
I thought that was
English.
cute in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you have
How
to
would you have a clue?
read
Like, people
book
all the
from
time, I'm like,
yeah.
if you have no exposure to Hebrew, you do not know that it is read from right to left. So you
Right.
got to flip your book because that's how it is. I was used to that because it's Japanese.
Right.
Yep.
Like, because that was odd at first, like when studying Japanese, getting used to like doing it that way, you know, the different way. So by the time I went to Judaism, I'm like, oh, okay. That's not weird to me, but like, if you have no clue and you just like walk into this,
Yeah.
like, it's going to be hard to follow along, and you're going to be like, what's going on, and why is this important?
Yeah.
And if your rabbi doesn't give good sermons about shit, you're not really going to get it.
Right.
So, because ours are like 3/4 Hebrew, but we'll do some stuff in English for some of the prayers. And then, but we still read the Torah, like that's read in Hebrew, and then rabbi gives a nice sermon on the theme about it.
Right.
Like ours yesterday was about imperfect justice in the world. Because we read a part of Re'eh, that's the portion for today, and that's talking about, so we're in Deuteronomy, so it's talking about how the Shemitah year, where we don't grow anything, that's the year of rest for the land and all that stuff. And, but it says in there, because, you know, ancient texts, superpower God type of thing, like, oh, but no one's going to have to worry about eating because everyone will be fine.
Yeah.
Like, we're like, but this is like 2 verses after you said, but the poor will always be with you. So how are people going to be fine? And it's like, oh, well, you're going to have like made loans to other nations. So they're going to be repaying you, so you'll be able to buy shit or something. We're like, okay. All right. Whatevs. It's part of the tradition. But then we're talking about what would that look like? Like, what would it look like to be able to feed everyone in the world? Like, we can do it now.
We just don't want to.
We decide not to. We have to make choices. And it's really hard to get people to agree to that. So then it's like, okay, take it down a level. What can we do as individuals? Like, you know, do our best to help out our community or things like that. And then we switched over to how do we feel about the death penalty?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yes.
Only because recently the Pittsburgh shooter was sentenced to death.
Right.
So, and Ram was like, that causes problems in the community. He's like, cause like, I'm not pro-death penalty.
Right.
Do I feel this is a just solution? Yeah, it's not great. It's like, I don't like it. It makes me sad, but
yeah,
it's like this guy too also went in with intent. He wasn't mentally ill. He wasn't like confused into it. He knew what the fuck he was doing.
Right.
Like, it's sad that he believed the anti-Semitic lies that made him do that, but he knew it. And this is the solution that's offered. And will it bring some of the people's families who died kind of closure? It will. But not everyone likes it. Not everybody agrees. I'm like, and that's one of these imperfect justice things. So what would be perfect justice anyways in this situation?
Right.
Oh, and you brought up a great story from the Talmud. Sorry this is long. So apparently there's this example given about somebody was two people building houses, and one person went and stole a support beam from somebody else, put it in their house.
Okay.
So the rabbis go, what do we do with this? How does this work? And Shammai says, well, what we need to do is go to the other guy's house and rip his house down and get the beam out and give it back to the guy he stole it from. That's justice. That's perfect justice. And Hillel said, yeah, no, we can't do that. Like, then you got a person who's, like, lost their house and all this other shit. What you need to do, the responsible thing to do, is that guy needs to pay the other dude this equivalent value for the wood so he can go and get a new beam, finish building his house. And, of course, the rabbis went with Hillel's option. They always do in the Talmud. But you still get to hear about Shammai, you know.
Is Shammai like Goofus?
No, Shammai is the more of we're gonna interpret by the letter instead of the spirit or the intent.
Yeah.
So and like the Torah and all the stuff basically would say, take your shit back.
Yeah.
You know, they stole it. When someone steals something from you, and you get the stolen goods back, you give it back to the person who stole it from.
Right.
Pure and simple. But it's not pure and simple, you know.
Right.
So Shammai's school is usually solutions like that, and we include them in there because it's part of the debate, but we always usually go with Hillel, because Hillel's school of thought is the more generous and reasonable one.
Gotcha.
So, like, you don't go tear the guy's house down now that's complete, make his kids homeless, you just make him pay for what he sold.
Right.
Which is fair. You know.
So if Margaret could have spoke Hebrew, she would have learned all this, but instead she was just bored.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
It also depends on the quality of your people
leading
the services.
Yeah.
Like, if they sound droney, then you just kind of get a little tired. They could be really awesome, but if they sound boring, then they are.
Yeah.
You know, and her synagogue still looked like it did the old school days stuff, because this is 1970. Whereas, like, we didn't really participate. We just kind of sat there and followed along. Like, you could read the prayers and stuff, too. But we had people, the cantors would usually read the stuff out loud for the congregation.
Yeah.
For their response. So it really was kind of like this passive, you just sit here, follow along in the book, and just watch. Like, it wasn't quite as interactive. Like, now we all just do all the prayers together and stuff. Like, we have a really great cantor who sings and stuff for us. We just follow along with Jason. Like, and we know the stuff, and we participate more than, like, they did back then. So, because that was a big problem. People were like, this is boring. Hebrew school's failing us. We don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck would I keep... Like, her dad is like, what made me stop going to temple was going to temple.
Yep.
And I'm like, I get it. Like,
my favorite comment from Kathy Bates' grandma was like, oh, he's great. Like, you're in and out
in 2 hours.
Yeah.
For Saturday morning, that's good.
Yeah.
Because those services traditionally are like 3 to 4 hours.
Yep.
But that's because you come in the morning, because you're not supposed to be doing shit anyways.
Right.
So you come in the morning and you spend like half your day there, and then you get lunch. Like, there's always a kiddish lunch afterwards if you do Saturday mornings.
Right.
And then you go home for the afternoon, and you spend your afternoon just chilling. Maybe go visit your friends or family. Yeah. You know, hang out or take naps. Ooh. And if you're a married couple, then be sure to have sex on Shabbat, because it's an extra mitzvah.
Yeah.
So.
What?
Yeah. It's a holy thing to do.
Oh.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yep. Get down for God.
Yeah, basically, you get extra brownie points for doing it on Shabbat.
God wants kids.
Somebody needs to put that on a shirt.
Well, and love. He wants,
get down
the
for
teaching
God.
is, so sex in Judaism is like, yeah, sure, like, it's really great to get married and have kids. But it's also great when you're married just to have sex because you love each other and you want to cement your bond and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about kids. Like, they come out of it, but it's about strengthening your love and your commitment to each other.
Yahweh is a good wingman.
So,
sorry, in Christianity, all they seem to care about is people having babies, and so they're doing everything they can, so you have to have the babies.
Right. They want the sex.
Babies.
They don't want to make love. They want to have sex.
Yeah, well.
The babies.
Not the babies.
Gotta have the babies. That's all they care about.
But anyway,
baby in there.
Like,
before I forget
for everybody.
Before I forget to do it, I do want to talk a little bit more about Judy Blume, because she is cool as shit still. Yeah. To this day. To this day. I do
hear good things about her. Yeah.
Yeah. So
she's what, like 80-something now?
Yeah.
70-something?
She was born in 38.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So math makes her, up there.
It's hard. Yeah.
Did you see her in the movie?
We did. Sharon pointed her out, actually.
We?
Oh, nice. Extra points to Sharon.
Yeah.
I was the Leonardo DiCaprio meme being like,
yeah.
There she is.
I'm like, I don't know what she looks like, so.
Yeah.
I guess I did see her then. I have no idea.
Yeah, she was like a pedestrian in the early going
Oh,
with some guy who I didn't know who that
cool.
guy was, but
She's just walking around like people.
yeah,
That's
she's really cool. I recommend her masterclass if you want to. Talking about writing for kids, but she grew up in New Jersey and went to school in New York, so that's why all the authentic New Jersey hate rang really true for the characters. Like Kathy Bates being like appalled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into New Jersey.
You're moving across a river into New Jersey.
You'll never see me again.
I'll never
like
see
her family's going to die over there. She'll never see them.
Right.
Yeah.
She'll die before she can see them.
Yeah. Yeah, and so a lot of her stuff seems to take place in like the New Jersey, New York area. She started writing just like to fuck around and entertain herself when her kids started going to school.
Mm-hmm.
And then has written like 15 books since then just because. So
cool. Well, why not?
So yeah, kind of talked this already, but like she was her thing is like she's not afraid to write kids kind of like how they are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even though reading this, you know, it kind of shows its age with some of the vocab.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But aside from that, like calling things positively neat, it could still be pretty modern. But
yeah, definitely.
So this was published in 1970, and won Outstanding Book of the Year from New York Times, and it's included in the Time magazine 100 novels written in English since 1923.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The pull quote they've got from there is that Judy Blume turned millions of preteens into readers, and she did it by asking the right questions and avoiding pat, easy answers.
Yeah.
Which I think we can see in here where we've been like, well, I guess I'm going to be Jewish then. Because my grandma is and my dad is, and I like my grandma a lot.
Could be, yeah.
She makes note that this book isn't autobiographical, although a lot of her life experience went into setting up the character of Margaret.
Mm-hmm.
Her quote is, when I was in 6th grade, I longed to develop physically like my classmates. I tried doing exercises, resorted to stuffing my bra, and lied about getting my period. And like Margaret, I had a very personal relationship with God that had little to do with organized religion. God was my friend and comfort, but Margaret's family is very different from mine, and her story grew from my imagination.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good insight.
Apparently she also wrote like a boys version of this called Then Again, Maybe I Won't, which I've added to my wish list now, but... So yeah, again, like thinking of those characters, like, I felt, you know, having a 12-year-old in the house, Margaret felt like a 12-year-old to me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, she really did.
They're weird because, you know, they're little humans and stuff, and the stuff they know about, they think about really deeply and a lot.
Yeah.
But they have these blank spaces about, like, oh, my friends might lie to me about stuff.
Right.
Or there might be rumors at school, and I can't just take everything at face value, so...
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was very true to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked them trying to increase their bust.
Yeah.
That doesn't work, by the way.
I have heard that before.
It
I was
doesn't
wondering
work.
where it came from.
What?
You can't do
Now
exercises to increase your fat storage?
Yeah, you can't do exercises. No. You can either have them grow naturally or you can surgically get them implanted, and those are your options.
Yeah.
Or get falsies.
Yes, or you could, stuff them with the socks or whatever she was trying to do and dancing around her room.
Yeah. Which, typing with your boobs doesn't seem like a great use of them, but, to each their own.
That was entertaining to me, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that is another way to increase your bust, is just to gain weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it.
If you don't care about the proportion of your boobs to the rest of you, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Just go to McDonald's and ask them to put the fat in.
I do like, yes, I want the fat back in the french fries. I do like it when people are like, yeah, like, look at me, I have these great boobs. I'm like, yeah, and you're like 500 pounds. Like, no one is interested in your boobs.
I will say, to be fair, if you are 500 pounds, there is probably somebody who's into your boobs.
True.
Yeah.
Yep.
True.
There's always somebody.
There are people, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. Bonuses.
At the end, I have to tell you about funny stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
But only at the end,
At
okay?
the end. At the end.
Only at the end.
So, some random things about this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know it was filmed in Charlotte?
No, I had no idea.
What? It looked like New York.
Well,
That's awesome.
some of the stuff was, I'm sure, stock footage from New York, but...
Yeah, and I'm sure most of the suburban-y stuff from Charlotte.
But the thing is, 1970s New York doesn't exist anymore, so...
That's right.
So they can film it anywhere.
And also 1970s New York would have been like a much dirtier place.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I did not see one porno theater.
She didn't live in
But
the
you
porno
did see a
theater
porno
neighborhood.
mag,
Come on.
though.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, the dad got Playboy.
Is that still around, even, like, Playboy?
As a
I don't
magazine?
know. Yeah.
Is it
Well,
I
now?
don't know.
I'm not
Because, like,
gonna
we
Google
never
that on
hear
my
about it
phone. I'm
anymore.
connected to all my work stuff.
Well, like one of Hugh Hefner's daughters took it over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Do that, huh?
Well, because the 70s kind of got to be another heyday for them with their writing.
Yeah.
And then some of their interesting threads, but... Like, there's a lot of good short stories that came out of that from the 70s,
Yes.
too, just like the 50s.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
And so you could legitimately say, "Oh, I get it for the articles."
Yes.
You could, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And people would be like, "Yeah, sure, of course."
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was meant to be an all-encompassing, like, gentleman's magazine. It wasn't just supposed to be tits.
Yeah.
You know? It was supposed to be, like, lifestyle advice, entertainment, short
And
stories,
also boobs.
talks of
Well,
politics.
do you
and
remember
also
that
boobs.
episode of The Simpsons?
No.
Where Bart found all of the Playboys, but they already had all of the ladies cut out of them.
Oh.
And so he was like living the 70s Playboy lifestyle. You know, like
Nice.
like he's got his like treehouse decked out, like he's wearing the the smoking jacket and like
Yeah.
has like all the modern furniture, and they're like listening
Nice.
to Miles Davis.
Yeah, I mean, that's all shit you get out of Playboy. Yeah.
That's the cool part.
Right.
Well, I did like that they kept it 1970 for the movie. And it was
Yeah.
a good reminder how fucking brown everything was
Yes.
in the 70s and 80s. Like, everything was just brown. God.
Earth
That was the
tones.
Nothing
funny thing,
matched.
'cause- what was her name,
When did we
Nancy?
learn about color theory?
Nancy.
Like
Well,
Nancy's house in the movie, like, I counted a house like that, like, it was basically done in the 60s,
Like, yeah.
Mhm.
you know, by the parents. Like, there was a friend of mine's, his grandma's house was like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've seen this house.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been in it.
So my old house that my parents bought in the 70s had the shag carpet, and some of it was like a rust orange, and some of it was green.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that
Yeah.
just seems so weird to me.
Yeah.
Until we didn't change it for a long time. So I remember when
Right.
I had the green carpet in my room, and Tracy had like the rust carpet in her room.
Right.
Mhm.
And they're like, okay, well, you can paint your room any color. Well, I wanted my room bright purple. So I had a bright purple room with green carpet, and I had to find like a bedspread that brought this together. But I managed to do it. I think it's still on my mom's
Yeah.
bed. Although that might be the blue one, because it came in blue too. But I had a purple one that had green, and it matched the carpet and the walls.
Purple and green go
Nice.
together.
They
Joker
do,
colors.
actually.
They do,
They're,
but
they're
like,
complementary on the color wheel.
it would
or
be
whatever.
weird if I had just something that was purple and had nothing to do with green. I had this it was like a bright green carpet. I'm like, what is this? And Mom's like,
It's
this was
probably like-
popular back then.
Yeah. And
So popular.
IKEA had it a few years ago, because we had a Hatch in Matt's room in our apartment that was green, the new green shag carpeting. It's a nice bright green, but
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to match unless you're going through a color phase in culture.
I don't
Ninja
feel
Turtles, man.
They say stuff comes
Yeah,
back,
right.
and like in terms of carpeting, I don't feel like that has come back. Like
No.
the higher carpets, a little yes, but like not necessarily those crazy colors.
Right.
No. But I did like that, because if you wanted a shag, you could get like a piece of it and have it be like an accent rug, but not
Right.
your entire rug.
Right.
So, but the high pile carpeting these days is actually pretty nice. Nice and cush.
Yeah. Amson, you might know about this, but like, are you required to go to sleepaway camp if you're Jewish in New York City?
I think you're required to go if you're just Jewish.
Just Jewish? It's still a
yeah.
thing?
Oh yeah.
How
That's
long do
very
you
much a
go
thing.
for?
Like months?
It depends. You can go for a week or for longer.
We did this
I think
wrong.
most of the
Our
kids these days go for a week or two,
Yeah.
because that's what's affordable. But it's a big deal. It's like, it's big enough that we're always trying to like make sure there's enough funds in the rabbi's fund so that we can send kids to camp who
Yeah.
want to go, who their families might not be able to afford it, because it's pretty important apparently for kids growing up Jewish in America to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
To help solidify their Jewish identity growing up. Because
Mhm.
most kids, go to public school, and they're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
maybe one of a handful of Jews, or maybe the only Jew in
Right.
their school. So that's hard. And this way they can get together with other Jewish kids and have some fun and
Yeah.
be Jewish together and do that stuff. It's like regular camp, but you have a rabbi and you do Shabbat stuff and learn songs. Because some of the
she was just like going to camp, though, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was just going to camp.
Yeah.
But there is lots of Jewish summer camps. Some of them have closed in the last few years, but every region basically has at least one.
Right.
I can't remember where ours is, but kids either go to that or they go to the ones up in New York State and stuff if they can travel.
Seems like a good place to do a summer camp. I wouldn't want to send our kids to a summer camp here.
God,
no. It would suck.
Catch on fire.
It would be like Boy Scout camp, and that's fucking sucked for a week.
Yeah.
That's why I only went to SBARF once. That was enough.
Oh my god.
Humid as shit for a week. Mosquitoes everywhere. The only time I went to camp after that was when we went to Wisconsin one year, and then went to Colorado the last time I went. So,
oh jeez.
Like, I'm not
I haven't
going
thought
to
about SBARF in many a year.
Oh yeah.
We always went to Beaumont.
Oh man, I always missed Beaumont. I wanted to go to Beaumont, but I wasn't in. Like, I wanted to do the Beaumont where you got to ride the horses.
Yeah.
But my troops always wanted to do the hiking, and I was not in. Even as a kid, I was not in shape to do like 2 weeks of fucking hiking in the backcountry of New Mexico. So,
and you also like never end up doing some kind of Indiana Jones adventure.
Rarely.
Unfortunately not, yeah.
Rarely.
Never fall into a train car full of snakes.
No.
Not never.
He got to do the...
Just rarely.
Chris, he got to do the horse one. Who the fuck knows if you get to do that one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they reenacted that for all the kids in the 90s and the 2000s.
Do you think Kathy Bates would be a fun grandma?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kathy Bates is also.
Yeah.
I think the real Kathy Bates would be a fun grandma.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she'd be incredibly fun.
Yeah. She could take you to a show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
She'd be in the show. She's like, not only am I taking you to the show, I'm in it for you.
Right.
You know?
Nice. Yeah. I loved the way she shoved that l'chaim like right in the other parents' face.
That was everybody, like the whole around.
That was the most fuck you l'chaim I've ever heard.
It really was.
Was Nancy Wheeler like really creepy to anyone else, or was that just part of the time? Like, they didn't have Facebook, so you had to gossip about your neighbors.
She was just one of those.
She got it from her mom, clearly.
Yeah.
But also that happened in middle school.
She wasn't as bad as she could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she wasn't as bad as she could have been.
I have never talked to you before.
By the way, Nancy Wheeler, also a character in Stranger Things.
That's what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird as shit.
I'm like, oh, I've heard
Did
this
they get
name
that
before.
from there?
Probably.
Maybe.
It is an homage.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it was just a little weird to be like, you've never met me in your whole life. I know everything about you.
Mm-hmm.
Come put on my bathing suit.
Yeah.
Your tits are small.
Because apparently back in 1970, your real estate agent would send flyers to your neighbors announcing who you are.
Yeah.
So they'd know who you were to look out for, and your name's already, and they could just go introduce yourself.
That's so
I
weird.
guess it was a different time, and people would have been expected to be like, go talk to your neighbors.
Well, yeah.
After you move in.
It was a community.
Whereas I've talked to our neighbors.
Like, we can't do that because
indirectly.
Then some rando is going to come to your house and tell your kids, like, yeah, I know you.
Yeah.
I know your name.
Come put on a bathing suit.
Come with me.
Yeah, we don't do that. Well, it's not like she was an adult or something trying to do. She was her peer.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, too. Like, I think in this day and age, like, our neighborhood kids know each other.
Right.
But, like, we don't know them. I know one of them because one of them was my students last year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was weird.
I used to know everybody on my street. Now we don't know anybody here.
I didn't know all the adults, but I knew all the kids and their parents.
Right.
And like, but that's the thing. Like, I don't have kids, so we don't interact. Like, we kind of know the neighbors around us, but not that well. Like, not enough that we've ever invited them over for a barbecue.
We only know our neighbors from their fights on Facebook. We're like, well, these are people that we definitely don't want to associate with.
Yeah. And I do think it's kind of sad for neighborhoods that we don't know each other anymore, but populations, like, they're not as houses as much, but people move around.
Right.
Like, I think that's kind of the thing. Like, people just haven't felt like getting to really know each other, but...
Yeah.
Yep.
It is what it is.
People don't spend a whole lot of time just in their front yard anymore.
No. It's too hot.
They do around here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All the dead people in the cemetery?
They probably had like a big
backyard
congregation across the street earlier today because like they go on a bike ride and then everyone just sits in the driveway.
Oh, geez.
Like, yeah, shooting the shit.
Okay.
And
nice.
It's like, well, I could go outside, but then someone's going to try and talk to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great argument for staying indoors.
I avoid the neighbors at all costs.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
The neighbors on either side of us are pretty good.
That's good. Our new
neighbors on either side of us are not.
I talk to our neighbor's dog a lot.
Than that, though.
Well, one of our neighbors is Tim. And he's this cool... He's like 50.
Is he the one that makes the good shit at McDonald's?
No.
Different Tim.
Okay.
But he does manage I think a Kickback Jacks or something like up in Mount Airy. But he's like 50, but he's trying to be 30. He's one of those guys.
I understand
That's going to be
He's
me.
okay.
Yeah.
He's okay, but our other neighbor was an Airbnb house,
Mm-hmm.
and then they sold that this spring to a family, and they're not good neighbors.
Oh, boy. Hey, everybody. Present day Travis interrupting really quick. We decided it was probably best to cut some of this portion out to protect some personal details. So, make up a story in your mind about a neighbor that you might not like. And then let's jump back in 3, 2, 1.
Right.
Yeah.
But, so they're not good neighbors. Like
In summary, neighbors are terrible.
I was just going to say,
Some of
so
them
what we've
are.
learned is that gossiping
Sorry
about
for
your
the
neighbors
long
is alive
story.
and well.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Alive and well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It
And that
is.
could be a situation where you're like, you've never met me before, but I know all about how you treat your dogs, and I don't want your
Oh,
dog.
man.
Don't sell
Yeah.
me your dog.
Yeah, basically. Sorry, that was long too.
No, that's fine.
I'm just full of long stories today.
Hey. We're a
What else are
long-form
we going to
podcast.
do? Talk
Yeah.
about this book?
Seriously.
Yeah, we could. Neighbors are different. Neighborhoods are different, kids, than they used
That's
to.
right.
But only a little.
Only a little.
We still
Yeah,
gossip.
only
We
a
just
little.
do it on Nextdoor now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Or ring
Love that
doorbells.
app.
Whose
That app.
dog is shitting in my lawn, we'll say.
Yes.
There's actually really nice neighbors on Nextdoor. We got a couple years ago when Matt had to get an emergency tooth extraction. Like, we didn't have all
From
the
a
money
neighbor.
we needed. No, there was this one lady on Nextdoor who gave us $100
Oh,
wow.
wow.
for it. Like, she called in and paid like $100 towards the shit just because she's like, well, I've been in that place before, and
Yeah.
like I like to help out when I can. Or it's like, well, that kind of restored my faith in humanity a little bit.
That is really
Someone
nice.
I've never met, I will never meet, like, who lives in this general area.
Yeah.
Some people are
Like,
nice. Most people
yeah.
are not.
Well, because especially tooth pain is, like,
The worst.
completely unbearable.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah.
He couldn't sleep for like 2 weeks. Like, it was terrible.
Yeah.
I generally find that a person is cool, but people suck.
Yes.
That is the general consensus I have
Right.
reached as well. As
Yeah.
fascinating as people are
That's
to
the
me,
exception and not the
people
rule.
suck.
Yeah.
Right.
The one
Individuals
individual,
can
okay.
be great.
People, nah.
Right.
But it's like, even
People
with
get it.
good individuals, you get enough together and then you kind of turn shitty.
Yeah.
So,
Weird how that works.
yeah.
Yeah. I liked the note about their first-year teacher. I've had no transition for this, but
Yeah.
That's fine.
first-year teacher, and Danielle's like, oh, no, he's going to be
He's
bad.
going to be terrible. First year teacher.
Like, Danielle had this book pegged.
Yeah.
Her reactions were exactly what they're about to do in the book, so...
Yeah. Because I was, in fact, a 12-year-old girl at one point.
You were,
so.
yes.
But
Yeah.
I think it was probably a good idea that the movie steered away from the whole kind of suggestion that, like, oh, young teacher and Laura Danker with her huge tits, like, this guy is definitely going to be, like, sweating up there.
No.
No, he didn't pay her any attention.
No, like, because adults aren't attracted to 12-year-old kids most of the time.
No.
Exactly.
You know,
we know they're
Most of the
12.
time.
There's
You
a
can be a
few of the
developed
people out there
12-year-old and
that are
just
ruining
like,
it for
no.
everyone else.
I know, putting thoughts into other people's heads about what adults around kids do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, but
especially when they're opposite gender,
yeah.
you know. It's like,
Yeah.
no,
I felt
no
I
thoughts.
felt like it was a valid thing to include in the book, but I'm kind of glad the movie steered away from it because it's a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
weird when it's actual people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, part of the thing is that in the book, it is more clearly like a first-person experience, right?
Right.
And so it's like, yes, this is the kind of shit that kids will say.
Right.
Yeah.
But in
Totally.
the movie, you're taking it more from like a distant perspective.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, then it would be weird if you ended up putting that suggestion anywhere in there.
Right.
Right.
He was a nice teacher.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
He's
seemed
a
just
good
fine.
teacher, I thought. I'm like,
Just
good on you
fine.
kids for actually, you know, sitting still and paying attention.
Imagine that, right?
I know, right?
Going
Did
to a
that
school where
happen more
kids
in the
just like sat
70s?
there
Like,
and
what's
listened.
happened?
It did appear. It happened through our childhoods.
It was more the expectation, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
more strict
if
discipline.
your teacher had to call home about your behavior, you were going to get it.
Yeah.
One way or the other from your parents.
They call home about my kids, I'm like, okay, bye. I will bring this up to them. Maybe I won't. We'll see.
Yeah.
What if I called you about your kids? If I was their teacher, I'd be like, Danielle, you never believe what happened today.
And like sometimes they call about the stupidest shit, and I'm like, did you need to call me for that? Because like I find that to be a non-issue, and I've dismissed it.
I'd call about behavior issues, or if your kid was behind.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, we don't have issues. He's missed a couple assignments, so
right.
Just thought you should know. There wouldn't be like any accusatory. Just like, you should just know.
Well, and
heads up.
Like, I feel like in
I would
the
prefer
70s,
to email you though.
The PTA was a more important thing. And like being in good standing as a parent in the PTA.
Well, you could be because a lot of
would have been an important thing.
Work.
And so having the teacher call you and be like, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed."
Right.
Everyone's going to know about how my kid's like a fuck up in the PTA now. Like, can't sit still.
I felt that we tried to get a good PTA going at my school last year, but I don't know how successful that was. Because those parents have to work all the time. So.
Yep.
Right.
No one has the time.
And as you could see from the movie, the PTA is terrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been asked several times to like join certain actual PTA positions. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I work. I don't have time for that because no, I'm not going to be part of that. My work bestie, Jason, he has said it right. The PTA stands for Parents to Avoid.
Unfortunately, usually.
Parents to Avoid. So I will join the PTA and give them the money so that they have it. I joined all of us for both schools, and it's like, that's my contribution. If I can maybe volunteer for something sometime, once, maybe, but otherwise, like, we have a lot of non-working parents, though, in this area, so they can...
They can handle it.
They can let them do it. They got the time.
That's good, because they're going to want to. They'll be super involved.
Right.
Yep.
So, I always say, let the people who want to do that, do that. I just think it's nice when there's time we have events and parents can come. That's the important part.
Yeah.
My mom always wanted to do more, but I'm like, don't feel bad, Mom.
Did she want to cut out 10,000 stars for the
No,
gym?
she just wanted to be able to be... Turns out it's a fire hazard.
Oh my god.
But no, my mom wanted to be able to come and do like especially when I was little, like 1st through 3rd grade, like you'd have like, moms come some afternoons and bring like cookies and juice boxes and shit. My mom wanted to be able to do that, but she had to work, so.
Yeah.
Never got to.
So I like the parts where they were like sneaking pictures of wieners. Like they got an anatomy book so they could look at a wiener.
And then they're like, it's like a thumb. That was hilarious. So some mushroom-headed thumb, kids. That's really a good way to put it.
Yeah.
They're not very interesting.
No.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
Wieners.
And then going and stealing the Playboy to look at a lady.
Yeah,
like,
that was great, too.
That's a childhood memory.
Ladies look better.
They
honestly,
do.
That's true.
Than the men.
I will agree with
you.
Yeah.
That could have been me. Like, my dad had a Playboy in the house.
He did?
That I knew exactly where it was, so.
I've never had a Playboy.
No.
I had a Playgirl that we had to go pick up for a scavenger hunt for my sorority that I was in.
That seems rude. Do they still even make Playgirl?
I don't know
Probably.
if they do, but Beth went in and bought it.
That sounds like that.
I stayed in the car with the other people, and then Beth went in and bought it, and then somehow at the end, though, it ended up in my room on my floor, and like my parents came to.
Somehow.
I was hidden under all the shit,
and
then when my parents came to pack up, my mom's like, "Oh." So. Like, oh, she's like, "Do you want?" I'm like, "You can just throw that away."
Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
The only thing I ever had was a British edition of Maxim.
Ooh.
One issue, because when we went to Greece, one of the older kids bought it, and he's like, I'm done. Here you go. I'm like, awesome, thanks.
Hand me down.
It's like, I'm done with it. I read it. I'm like, okay. So that's
Playgirl,
my only,
it's like partially erect.
Only
you can't have the full erect. That would be too scary.
Weird. Yeah.
It would be too scary.
British model in a bikini.
You'd look like an insane person.
Yeah.
Sitting there with a fully erect penis.
That would be crazy. Crazy. You want that? Just find some ancient art.
Yes. Fertility goddess and stuff.
Yep.
So another thing they seem to change from the book is one of her friends went to a black church. And as far as like just trying on churches, I feel like that's cheating.
Yeah,
because like that'd be fun as shit. Like,
that was
going to a gospel.
I was like, if I went to black church, I feel like I would have liked church.
Yeah,
because they have fun.
Probably they do.
It's cheating.
It is.
You can't be there like, look at all this good music we've got and all the fun we have.
Yep.
And how we all seem to like each other.
Yeah, that's
Why
like,
people are just
I figured it out.
Isn't that what it should be?
Yes.
No, you like go to church to judge people.
Yeah.
That's what
I
you do.
I went because Mom took me and she wanted to pray and she had a good time.
Yeah.
But people did judge us, and that was shitty, and that's part of some of the reasons I gave up on church.
Yeah.
We got an anonymous letter one time from somebody bitching about us being like, coming in late, because it turns out those were the days when my mom was having lots of energy problems, because it turns out her heart was fucked up.
Oh,
so we didn't know it. So we'd get there late, and I didn't give a shit.
Listen, Jesus doesn't care what time
my mom
you
got
show
really
up for
upset,
church.
and we even went to, I even like drove fucking down there with this letter. I went to the rectory, took Mom with me, and we like complained to Monsignor about it. He's like, I can't really do anything about it other than, because they were anonymous. I'm like, oh, so big of you telling my mom she's a terrible Catholic mom.
Yeah.
And you couldn't even put your name on this shit? Come on. Oh, fucking cowards.
He needed to show that note in the next service and be like, bullying is not acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of did that, but he needed to do it more forcefully.
You're like, you know what? I'm going to be Jewish now. Like, fuck you.
It should have been like, this is not how we treat each other as a community, and if I hear about this happening again, we're going to have words at one of these sermons. Yeah. Like, he should have done that, but he didn't.
Yeah.
So,
did any of you guys ever go to a makeout party when you were 12?
Yes.
No.
Yes?
Yeah, I did.
Did you do 2 minutes in the bathroom?
No, we only did the spin the bottle stuff.
With the kid Leroy?
No. Was
that kid was an asshole.
The kid,
Philip.
His last name was Leroy.
Leroy.
The kid Leroy is one of the artists that Levi listens to.
Oh
yeah?
But
man, you guys didn't have
But you did spin the bottle? Stuff. Did you kiss anyone interesting?
Like kissed 5 people.
Ooh,
I mean,
in a row?
We all kissed everybody, so I mean,
try not
that
to
was
kiss
fun.
anyone on the way through the parking lot. Jeez.
Yeah, I didn't have any friends that did shit like that, so.
Yeah, that's what we did.
That's probably what happens when you actually get invited to parties, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't get invited to those parties. The closest we did was we did that in college for fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you kiss anyone interesting?
Probably.
The kid Leroy?
Went to a school
I was pretty drunk, so I don't remember.
So that would have been like a really interesting party, I guess.
But we had spin the bottle at one of Marissa's parties, actually, I think.
Did you?
And then we did, it was only once, because it wasn't as popular as we ended up doing.
It wasn't very fun.
Other games. Would you rather? We ended up doing that more, because that led to more interesting, spicy situations.
Oh.
So, I think I probably kissed a few people there. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of like a bunch of anime dudes with patchy beards being like,
oh god, yeah.
You guys want to make out? I mean,
I'm surprised they never did.
We could, if you wanted to. I mean,
I'm just kidding though.
That's why I only went to anime. That's why I only went to anime club once, because it was full of dudes like that. I'm like, I can't. You guys are way too critical of the shit I enjoy.
I mean, that was my entire college, I guess.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. I found cool people eventually, but for the first couple of years, it was like, I don't really want to associate with any of you.
Yeah, understandable.
I went to one of Marissa's parties. Well, the avatar of me went to one of Marissa's parties once when I was out of town.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember the avatar of you going to her party.
Megan had a picture of me printed out, and she wore my face as a mask.
Yeah, and kind of dressed like you.
I don't know what happened, but I heard it was fun.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, people had a good time with you, as I recall.
Good time with you.
Yeah.
Wow.
As I recall. God. You were very popular at that party.
Indirectly violated.
Numbers, I guess.
Probably should feel that way.
A little bit.
Yeah, but I also liked her being like, I did the 2 minutes in the bathroom with Philip. She's like, are you there, God? I totally just hooked up, and I'm going to tell you about it.
Right.
It was the best.
He kissed her twice. Chastely.
Hey, that's a big deal.
Chastely.
Like, that's what our kids talked about in their little week-long relationships.
Mm-hmm.
They were really in love with each other. They held hands and kissed. I'm like, good. Don't take it any further. You're already pushing this too hard at this age, so don't go further.
Right. Yeah. Please. Levi would come home last year from school and tell us about, like, oh, well, this guy's dating this girl. And I'm like, what does that mean? Well, I don't know. They're just dating. Like, In what?
Yeah, what does that mean?
In
what
what way?
Kids?
Yeah, Levi's like, it's dumb, right? They
It's
can't go anywhere.
It's
They sneak holding hands in the hallway
Right.
and like maybe kiss.
Maybe
and
they
usually
write a
then
note.
it's on the cheek.
Right. It's just a Facebook status to them right now, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, keep it that way. Too young to even be doing this, but if you're going to, just leave it at that, please. Thank you.
This movie finally revealed, A, that periods smell like the monkey bars. Confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say, wasn't it coppery?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what the girl who, in their little group, got it first said.
Mm-hmm.
And the secret of why girls always go to the bathroom together.
Yeah.
In case someone needs to go get my mom.
Yeah.
Right.
To
Because
come
I'm
help
crying. Because I lied about having my period and now I just got it.
out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That bitch. She spent all that money on a postcard to lie.
I know, right?
Don't do that. Just go on the internet and lie.
There's a person with a package.
Except via postcard.
Ooh, packages are exciting. I got one earlier.
Oh my god.
I haven't opened it. It's right here.
This might...
It's coins.
This comment is for
It just is.
a targeted audience here, but did Kathy Bates' boyfriend look like he probably has an interocitor in the basement?
Yes, he did.
He definitely did, right?
Yeah.
What?
An
A what?
interocitor.
Yeah.
If you know, you
He's
know.
from Metaluna, man.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
What's with it? What's all this and the rest bullshit?
Yeah, he's
He
got
was
a
cool.
mutant.
A mutant.
Okay.
Self-very mutant.
A mutant.
He looked like that guy from this island Earth
Yeah.
with his white hair and his big forehead.
Yeah. Real green.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real cream.
She needs love.
So yes.
So does
On the
Chips,
whole,
heard
I
that
liked this
earlier.
movie a lot.
I did too.
Like,
Yeah.
I thought it was funny,
I-
like legitimately funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
I
thought
enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would.
The story with her parents getting disowned for her marrying a Jewish person was like very touching.
Pretty real for the time. Yeah.
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 I thought it was great showing all that stuff about.
And you know what? I'm
families.
glad she liked Moose. He seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
was.
exactly.
He's a nice boy.
A nice boy.
He was going to tell her something about why he liked her, and then she had to go to the bathroom with Nancy, and she's pissed.
Yeah.
God damn. Cock blocking
I would be
Nancy.
too
Like,
if I was a
Jesus.
12-year-old. So.
Also, can we agree that her not getting to go to Florida was bullshit?
It
That
was
was
total
bullshit.
bullshit.
This was 1970s plane tickets. Like, this was basically a contract.
That was like $1,000.
Yep.
Like, and they just like, oh, we're gonna have to redo it. No, the fuck you don't.
No.
My
I'm
whole
going.
thing too is like,
You can't stop me. And
I was
don't make
also
me
like-
call my grandma and tell her that you canceled for me. Like, that's the worst.
For your stupid Bible-thumping parents.
Who I've never
well,
met
my whole
before.
thing was, you know what happened that your parents did when you guys got married, like 12 years before, or 15 for all we know.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't seen them since then. They say they're a little different and they want to see you. Okay, I'd be like, fine, perfect timing, because my daughter's going to be out of town. So
Yeah, that
we
was
can
my
meet,
thought too.
And I can see how you are.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then next time you can meet your granddaughter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because why would you expose her to that shit if they haven't really changed?
And they didn't.
And they didn't. Maybe
Well, she
a little,
wanted
but they
to
didn't
show him
really.
just how good she was doing now. She's like,
Yeah.
look at my cool
Well,
house and my
you
nice
You
daughter.
can still do
Look
that
at my
with
awesome
her being in
furniture that I
Florida.
finally got.
I got furniture in finally.
Like, I was like, come on. Like, at this day and age, I'd be like, fine, we can meet up
Right.
and see how it goes. And if it goes well, then we'll schedule a visit with the kid,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
But
Yeah.
it's 1970, different. So I was like, actually, good on you, Kathy Bates' grandma, for coming up and ruining
Yes.
that shit.
Yes.
By being like, I'm going to see my
Behind.
granddaughter because of what they're doing. Like, it ended bad for everybody, but still, I was like, good on you, grandma.
Yeah.
Coming to protect your little dumpling there.
That little
So,
roast she made would not have fed all those people.
No.
Well, you know, she was just trying out cooking for the first time.
She was.
It seemed
Yeah.
like.
But I liked they had all that good family dynamic in there. Like, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even though they're a great, nice family, like, they have their big issues too. Like, it's important, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Would you recommend this to somebody?
I would.
Yeah.
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 I would recommend
Brittany
it to children.
I
Yeah.
would too. I would like, this is actually a good movie for, like, kids to watch, maybe families.
Yeah.
Levi and Simon would have hated it.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
probably.
They would have been bored.
Brittany didn't want to watch it because she read the book when she was a kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, this brings up too many weird memories of like me trying to like learn about my body from my super Christian mom who didn't want to talk about it.
Oh,
God.
She gave me this book and like a kid's Christian anatomy book.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
and then she's like, and my mom said if I had any questions, I could come ask her. So I did. She's like, all right, where's your book? All right, here, see page 22.
wow.
Like, that didn't answer my question. I'm like, okay, I get
Wow.
it. She's like, so I don't really want to think about that. I'm like, that's fair.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm like, but hey, at least your mom got you this book.
Yeah.
So, but I
Yeah.
would recommend it for people, anyone who wants to see it and like have a nostalgia trip or it is good for, I think, 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know, any kid going through puberty, but especially girls.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think those issues that come along with puberty are pretty much timeless, so
we'll give the boys a little insight of what the girls are going through. So,
Oh man,
maybe.
And poor Nancy,
Well, no.
or not Nancy, poor Margaret. She just didn't know she was going to have to deal with getting her period and having to go away to camp with her period.
Mhm.
and it was
Oh,
the
geez.
day of going.
Thrust
Oh, God,
right
this-
into it.
I didn't think
Yep.
about that. She's going to get attacked by bears.
Gonna go thrust
Oh my
right
God.
in. Like, here you go.
Yeah.
I did like how her mom was like, I thought maybe it might be around time, so I got you
Yeah.
stuff anyway.
She needs some teenage softies.
Yep.
Yeah.
I liked that one teenage
Oh, yeah.
softies.
That scene is-
I really loved how realistic it was that the pad company sponsored the education,
Yeah.
Because
it was.
I remember like the pink booklet like from Always,
Yeah,
or whatever,
which is still
like-
a thing.
Yeah,
Always is still around.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and the reason we have those kind of educational things in schools is because capitalism.
yep.
We wouldn't have had it otherwise, but they're willing to sponsor it.
Right.
But
Just like
But yeah,
Coke
and that
with the
scene when they were
scoreboards.
buying it from the grocery store,
Oh man, that stuff.
I
always
identified
happened,
with
too.
that, where it's like, throw some Tic Tacs on there so I don't look like a weirdo. So that would always be the joke when I'd be like picking stuff up. It'd be like, oh, I do need condoms, and
Paper
Danielle
plates.
needs pads, and also our gerbils are out of food.
and we need a furnace filter.
Furnace filter. So like, this is my weekend, guys. Like
That is the best.
weird combinations of stuff, but yes, that made me laugh.
The kids nowadays are so lucky that there are so many self-checkouts. You don't have to like deal with that.
They can even order shit online and have it delivered to
Yes.
Yes,
Perfect.
them. So
make
they don't have to
Big
go to the
box
store.
that just says lube.
It's probably the way
Yeah.
to get that now because at Walmart, our Walmart, all that shit's behind a locked door.
right.
So you have to like go get the pharmacy
You have to,
person.
like, ask.
I need to buy this, and they have to go unlock it. That's like the worst. Like
And
even
then
more
they
embarrassing.
judge you. Yeah, I just want to be able to
Yeah.
grab it and check it out myself.
Right.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
stop getting in my way. But apparently people were stealing that shit during the pandemic. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Now it's all locked up, just like the baby food.
Yep.
Sorry, you can't feed your babies.
So,
Right.
something that Judy Blume herself brought up in her master class, and I also saw it when she was doing the publicity circuit for this movie, talking about like giving this kind of book to a kid who might be at the right age to read through it or whatever. She's like, here's the trick of how you get this to work. Like, if you hand someone like, read this book, I really like it, they'll be like, who gives a shit, and not read it.
Yeah.
Which I can confirm.
Mm-hmm.
That happens. But what you do is you like let them see you reading it and be like, oh, you're not ready for this book yet, and then put it
Yeah.
somewhere they can find,
Yeah.
Yep.
I like
and then
that
leave it
idea.
alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Mm.
secret to get your kids to read these important books.
That was
Maybe I'll
how
try
I
that.
ended up reading The Hobbit.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
you're not ready for this.
Right.
It's too advanced for you.
It might
Put
be
away.
too hard.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, got to use that reverse psychology.
Yep.
Trick
I was
your
sitting here
kids into
thinking-
learning about puberty.
I should like go to McKay's, which is our like used bookstore media store here,
Uh-huh.
and like just get a bunch of copies of that and some other Judy Blume shit to put in my classroom.
Yeah.
It's like I'll just leave it for them. I'm like, oh, they can see me coming off a lunch break just reading this and be like, oh hey guys, yeah, you can't do this. Sorry, it's a lot.
It's probably banned in your school anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
Not my school. They have to find it. Miss McGuire had it on her bookshelf last year with a bunch of other books, so
Yeah.
Mhm.
they have to fucking find it first.
Gotcha.
My school wouldn't care. They only care if a parent finds out.
Right.
Right.
But
Right.
sadly, most of my kids' parents are too busy to notice them reading.
Mhm.
So
Or notice them, probably.
Oh,
yeah, unfortunately.
now it's sad.
This is the world we live in. People want to have kids, but they don't want to actually parent, or they don't have the time.
Or they're forced
that is the case for some of our kids.
Because abortion laws.
Yeah, that's going to be a bigger problem now. But like a lot of our kids, at least, I know it's just their parents are too busy working like 3 jobs.
Yeah,
which is also ridiculous.
Yep, it is
completely.
Like, they shouldn't have to do that. They should be able to be home to be with their kids.
Yeah, as a human person, I shouldn't have to work a job to buy food to live. Like, I should just be provided with food to live, because I am an alive human person.
The earth provides enough for our needs, not for our greed.
It's like, give us all a little amount that we get each month so that we can have food to live.
Yeah, we should. We make enough. We can do it.
Well, I'm confused. I thought we were supposed to get down for God now. Like,
yeah.
I thought that's where we were ending it.
Well, you got until sundown.
For Jesus, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No Jesus.
Anyway, any final thoughts about
friend, but no Jesus.
The book movie?
That was good. It was good.
Good.
It's very nice and wholesome while covering really good topics.
I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was like I was like, we got to take time out to watch this.
I didn't either. I was like, it's going to be okay, but no, I actually am like,
I think wholesome is a good word for it. And it's like, I remember when there were actual family movies out there.
I think it also helped that like Rachel McAdams was awesome, and the girl that played Margaret was also very good.
Yes, agreed.
And the dad, who I thought I knew from somewhere, but I don't, but like he was good too.
Oh, he was in Oppenheimer.
He was in Oppenheimer.
Oh, that's right. That's what you said. But I didn't recognize him in there.
He was Teller.
He was a guy with
Monday, because I'm running out of time to actually be able to see movies now. So
he was a guy with the hat. You would have that narrows it down not at all. You know,
he was a guy with a hat. Yeah,
everyone had
on a train. Right?
Back when everybody wore hats.
I thought for sure he was the one on the train that kept feeding him, but I couldn't be wrong.
No, that was David Krumholtz.
Oh. Which one was Teller?
He was the one that was working on the super bomb.
Oh, yeah.
He was the one that was like, I want to keep working on the fusion bomb. And they're like, all right, well, you go do your thing then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really remember. Like, they had too many names and too many people.
There were a lot of guys.
Yeah, a lot of guys.
Oh. You guys didn't study physics.
It was it was the Avengers for World War II grandpas.
It really was, man.
It was good though.
It was. So on that note, do you guys have anything else that's good?
Coins. I have a lot of coins lately.
I've got some coins.
I've seen some
ever
coins.
since the coin show, I've been like, you know what? This is good feeling. So I've been going to coin shops locally. Got some supplies at one.
Meeting interesting people at coin shops.
Yeah. A little bit. Usually.
How many other Chris's did you meet there?
None.
Oh,
that's just a coin show thing.
Disappointing.
That's just a coin show. But it's also fair too. We don't wear name tags, so
could have been a Chris.
But yeah, I ordered some stuff, bought some stuff. I got that coin show in a month. That's gonna be in Charlotte, like right north of Charlotte, that I'm excited about. So
nice.
Yeah, cool.
You can see some of these filming locations.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes.
Like, that was the scene.
I'll have to look it up.
Where he was mowing the lawn.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Danielle.
I watched a movie.
Whoa. What movie did you watch?
I watched a movie last night with Sharon. It was called Red, White, and Royal Blue.
Oh yeah, about the boys. How was that?
It was adorable and hilarious.
It was about these guys that weren't supposed to be together, but they got together.
It's about the president's son, and the president is Uma Thurman, by the way, with a sweet Texas accent.
Nice.
And then an English prince.
Oh,
yeah. And they meet and like they hate each other because that's
obviously. Yes.
Yeah, and then slowly over time, like they're forced together, and they have to like build a relationship, and it turns out they really like each other.
What? This is like enemies to lovers situation.
It's on Netflix, right? Netflix.
It's on Amazon.
Amazon. And I keep getting previews for it in my Facebook feed, and it looks really good.
Oh
yeah,
I guess that's in my future then.
Yeah,
cool.
It's got some gay sex in it, so it's got something for everybody.
Oh, for real?
Sweet. Did they show it?
Good job.
I mean, not hardcore.
It's like graphically, Travis. Come on.
I'm less interested now.
I mean, it's. I don't know.
I want a documentary style one of these things. Like, unflinching look at these relationships.
No, that's not what I would call it. It's definitely adorable.
Oh, okay.
But
are you trying to say graphic gay sex isn't adorable?
I would say that it's got some heartfelt love scenes.
Okay.
Aww.
And also some implied beaches.
Mm-hmm. All right.
You know, yeah.
Some implied.
Implied Beach would be a great band name.
It would, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Daniel, do you have anything else that's good?
We finished The Crowded Room, which was awesome.
Yeah.
With Tom Holland.
It was really good.
Mm-hmm. That's on Apple TV. That was very good.
Apparently we both finished it and then we both separately looked up to see, like, did this happen? Like, what was this? Because it's based on a book, and the book is nonfiction. Okay. But the show is fictionalized. It's, like, inspired by the first case of somebody who used dissociative personality disorder as a defense for crimes they committed.
That would be interesting.
But they kind of changed it so that the crimes in the show were a little more appetizing than what the actual case was. So, but it was good.
It was good.
Cool.
We liked that a lot. Sorry. I wanted us to go see that like Dracula boat movie last night. I was like, after I have this procedure done, it'll be fun. We'll just go see this movie. And I was like,
no.
I'll stay in bed.
Yeah.
So I'll have to go see that at some point. I'm going to go see the Meg on Wednesday. The Meg 2.
Nice.
It's shark movie season. Gotta go see the shark
We're going to go see Jason Statham, like, stab a shark.
Yeah,
3 sharks this time.
Yeah.
And like the big octopus or something I saw in a preview.
Yeah.
My brain is just going shark, 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 shark.
Right. But here's a funny thing that I wanted to tell you. So after I had this anesthesia and for this procedure, I like woke up and I was chewing gum. And I was like, where did I get this gum? And the anesthesiologist was like, oh, well, you were coming out of it. And I asked if you wanted some gum for your dry throat. And you said yes. I'm like, when did this happen? Like, I have no idea when this happened. But as I come conscious, I am chewing gum.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that this story didn't end like you woke up and you're chewing gum and then they're like, you didn't have any gum and you're just like gnawing on your tongue or something.
Yeah, no. Apparently I was not fully awake. They gave me some gum, which seems like a choking hazard.
Yeah.
And then
if you're awake enough to ask for gum, I think you're awake enough to chew gum.
Well,
I guess
probably fine.
Oh, they also gave me soap before they put me under.
Yeah, that was weird.
Well, because he was like...
She came back with, like, bespoke soap. Like artisanal soap. No. Like, what happened in there?
What's that supposed to be for?
This anesthesiologist was so funny because he was like an older guy. And he's like, they take you back to this procedure room, which I didn't even know we had in my OB office. And he's like, I gotta do the IV. He's like, do you get nervous with people do IVs? I'm like, no, I'm cool. He's like, well, here's some soap that you can, like, if you want to smell it, it'll, like, make you feel calm. And if you like it, you can just take it. Somebody in our office, like, makes these, is what he told me.
Gotcha.
He's like, what does it smell like to you? I'm like, it smells like a baby doll from my childhood. It smells like a water baby. He's like, it's vanilla. It didn't really smell like any type of vanilla that you're used to. I was like, this definitely smells like something from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But it was weird because I didn't have any place to, like, put my hand. He like put a thing on my arm and like I thought they would do it in my elbow area where my veins are like awesome, but they did it in the top of my hand. But I didn't have like a table. He was just like holding my hand, like sticking, and it was like the most gentle IV insertion I have ever had.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's like, here, and you can keep this soap. And I'm like, all right. He's like, you're going to drift off now. I'm like, I guess I just put the soap right on my stomach. And then wake up and I've got my soap and I'm chewing gum.
Mm-hmm.
Just the most wild anesthesiologist ever. And he was so old.
It would have been creepier if you came back and you're like, I didn't remember asking for gum, but I do remember that the PA had gum in her mouth when I went back there. And afterwards, she didn't have it.
Then when we got back to the room and I'm chewing this gum, I'm like, oh, this is mint. I was like, Travis, can you get me gum I like? You had to go to my purse and get the gum that I like to chew.
Yeah. How many times are you seeing Barbie now?
I've only seen it twice.
Only twice? You're not going to take Levi?
No.
He has to go.
I know he has to go, but I'm telling you, he's not going to be interested.
He might.
I don't think he will.
He
He'll be
likes
like, that was
people.
dumb. And then I'll have wasted my money.
But you'll have seen it for a third time.
You'll have
I
seen
don't
it
need to see
again.
it a third time. Twice was enough. Twice was good.
Yeah. What did you guys think of that? Didn't you all go as a big group?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
enjoyed
was
it.
fantastic.
Yeah. I thought it was really good.
Margot Robbie is great, and Ryan Gosling was like the best.
Yeah, he was excellent.
It's amazing
He was
as
so good.
Ken.
He's
As a doll trying to figure himself out. Like,
yeah.
I liked all the songs they worked in.
Yeah.
I know, right?
And then he
It's
played
pretty good.
guitar at us.
Yeah.
And now I
I
remember
felt-
all the Kens on the beach playing guitars to their Barbies. The big plan. Fucking hilarious.
I felt convicted or accused of things. Like, let me play guitar
Oh, I
at
didn't.
you.
At you.
Not
Yeah.
to you,
Yeah.
at you.
Yeah.
And also when the guy was like, oh, see, if you want to select this layer, you have to click here in Photoshop to do it. And like, I would have done that too. I was saying I make that mistake sometimes.
It was.
Let me explain everything about the
I guess
Godfather
I felt
to
fine
you.
because I don't do any of that shit. So I'm like, oh, okay. I'll just talk to you about coins or something. History. That's it. and if there's a Barbie hanging around for that means she actually likes me.
Yeah, you're in.
So, like,
It's a high hurdle to clear, but if they clear it, they're
Yeah.
in.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So for me, I've been watching a lot of Paul Rubens stuff. So I went back and watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure,
Of
which
course.
I haven't seen for a little while. But I guess I never realized how much of like a freaking Bugs Bunny cartoon it is.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Like, it's like the closest to a live-action Looney Tunes I can think of. But it's great, and should be seen by every person.
It should be. Yeah.
And watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, last night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Which I had
think I've
seen,
never
but it's
seen
been a
that.
little while. That's not as a high recommendation, although it's still good.
Yeah.
And he, in particular, is good.
Yeah.
And Rutger Hauer.
Ooh, Rucker.
Yeah, Rucker Hauer.
Yeah, I'm like, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I forgot he was... I didn't know who he was the first time I saw that, so...
Okay. That makes
And
sense.
it didn't have in my mental map, but... So we've also been watching, on Chris's recommendation, Bee and Puppy Cat.
Oh my
I
god.
finally broke down and started watching that on Netflix.
Nice.
And the boys
It's
both
so
have
weird.
latched onto it
Yeah.
firmly.
All right.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like if an indie video game was made into a TV show is what it feels like. It's like,
Mhm.
you know, a cozy Animal Crossing type environment with just weird lore that you learn more and more about as you go on.
Right.
And it's randomly weird and funny at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Simon particularly loves it when Puppy Cat says anything.
I'm not surprised.
That show's kind of gross though.
And
We're always
that's
watching it at dinner.
as I recall, isn't that like an AI or Vocaloid or something that's doing Puppy
Yeah,
Cat?
it's a Vocaloid
Yeah.
that does the cat. But
Yeah.
yeah, it surprised me by having a very deep backstory eventually. I'm like, I thought it was just kind of weird randomness, but
Mm-hmm.
there's something about it that I can't quite put my finger on about the vocal performances, though. Like, I know it was a YouTube show before Netflix bought it and remade it. But it's also almost like, did they just reuse the same vocal tracks from the
Maybe.
show? And, like, the timing was weird, because it almost feels like it's been, like, put through Google Translate a couple times, or something about the timing is just kind of odd, but at the same time, it's really good.
Yeah.
We've got, like,
Interesting.
3 or 4 more of those to go, but
Cool.
yeah. So that is cool.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, I've been to the Alamo.
I've
no
not-
basement.
Dude, I've never been to the Alamo.
I'd
There's no
like to go.
basement.
There's no
But
basement.
the
There is no
Riverwalk,
basement. That's what I hear.
Riverwalk is lower down from there.
Mhm. Yeah.
You walk up some stairs to get to the Alamo. So I say the Riverwalk is the basement of the Alamo.
It
All
is.
right.
Yeah.
From what
I'll
I
keep
have
that
heard.
in mind.
Yep. If you're ever looking for your bike, the
down
Riverwalk is
there.
probably where it is.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the problem is, like, anytime I'm down there, I'm probably going to forget.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the session for today. No official homework assignment this time, except perhaps for the usual. If you're enjoying the podcast, do us a favor and rate/review us on your service of choice, and/or tell a friend who you think might dig it to give us a listen. for on second thoughts, more of a follow-up than a second thought. But I did read that boys' version of Margaret after we recorded this, and I thought it was really good. I'm working on a blog post about it, and a couple of other Judy Blume books, which will hopefully be going up by this time next week, so check rtfbpod.com for that, if you please. Today's episode was found behind the A&P making time with an older boy, thanks to Chris Ham, Chris, other Chris Jacobson, Danielle, neither Chris Rowe. It was edited by me, Travis Rowe, and was sponsored by Teenage Softies. Growing into womanhood is hard. Shouldn't your teenage years be soft? Until next time, keep fucking reading.
You've grown up.
Yeah, I guess. I'm finally a man now. All right. I'm going to hit stop over here.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna order us some food because I'm like fucking starving. What are we gonna eat? We have to do this first before you
taco.